I would like to ask you about the mental space that you help people get into when they're beginning to incorporate this education, and not just the education piece, but also the practice piece. Once you learn how to cook a certain food, or you learn how to incorporate that into a meal, or make a meal plan, or a shopping list or something like that, what are the ways that you help people, women, families get into the mental space to support them for the consistency and longevity of, nutritional choices?
Yeah, that's a great question. And so one of the ways that I practice, and one of the things that I incorporate into my program, is the concept of mind-body balance. And so what that is it's a focus on the interconnectedness of what we consume, how we move our bodies, and what we think and what our
Mm-hmm.
mindset is. Because if those three components are not in balance together, then it's difficult to have overall health and wellness. And just breaking that down, even a little bit further, you may see some people who may exercise a lot, they exercise all the time, but then they may, eat junk food, or they may, not be in the best mental space, and they still have, certain issues. And so one of the things that I incorporate to help people work on from that mindset standpoint is one, having a positive mindset. Because if we're constantly feeding ourselves negative self-talk, if we never see ourselves in a positive light, then we start to internalize that.
Mm-hmm.
And if we, already see ourselves negatively, then that's going to impact one, what we choose to eat, because we're not feeling the greatest anyway. So we're gonna say, whatever, with this
Mm-hmm.
healthy eating, I'm just gonna, pick any old thing. And then, we may not exercise. And so it sets that whole interconnectedness, it sets it off track again. So, having a positive mindset. The other thing I like to incorporate is meditation.
Mm-hmm.
Because a lot of times, for us, I'm a mom too. I don't know if I said that. Mom of three. And so for, us moms and us working moms, especially, there's always something to be done. We're always on the go, on the go, on the go. And a lot of times we put ourselves last, and we don't take that time just to breathe and, and even
Mm-hmm.
think clearly for ourselves. And so just incorporating even meditation can help with stress levels. It's been shown to help lower cortisol levels, which in turn can lower blood pressure and blood sugar, and can even just clear your mind enough to say, you know what? Hey, I took 10 minutes to just breathe and think. And now I can see that, oh, now I feel better about choosing this for my meal, or, oh, now I feel better about going for a walk. And so, yeah, it's all interconnected, and then one thing impacts the other. And so just helping people to realize that and put all of that into perspective.
Yeah, that mental clarity that sometimes gets really hard to connect with when there's so much going on every single day from every aspect of the day and the people that are around you. I appreciate you bringing up meditation, because I found that also to be a very beneficial practice. I mean, I don't have kids, and I do run my own business, but it's one of those things that helps me turn off social media. It helps me turn off, whatever documentary I was watching, helps me turn off, my cat running around and, jumping on things. Right. And during a previous interview of Women of Color and Confidence, I was talking to someone about the pressure of the term meditate, or the activity of meditation. When people hear meditation, they think of something very specific, that on your pillow and you're holding your fingers out and your back straight, all the concept that we've seen in like movies and things like that.
Right.
And one of the best ways to alleviate that pressure from meditation, I think, is to discuss it more as a calming of the mind, and a calming of the sensory interaction that you get from the outside. So even something like just sitting in a chair with your eyes closed can be very meditative. For me, I have, activities in my life that are meditative. Some people say things like washing the dishes is meditative, like just sitting there and washing
Right.
something over and, washing it and drying it. And that puts them in a meditative state. For me, embroidery is a very meditative activity where I am
Hmm.
sitting, my energy level comes down, my attention and focus is on this one thing. The sound of the needle going in and the thread coming out is very meditative to my auditory senses. And
Yeah.
so when we talk about meditation for calming the mind, if you can release the pressure of this idea of being a perfect yogi sitting on a pillow and perfect and stillness and focus, and just really think about the idea of meditating as being still in a quiet space, maybe shutting your eyes, taking some deep breaths, but just really allowing all of the other things that tickle the senses to be separated from your body and your mind in that space. It's the same, you'll get the same result as something that someone would consider more like a yogic meditation.
Right. Yeah, that is so true. I'm glad you pointed that out. And I will tell you, it is. It's so true. I had a client recently, and this person, she is a very busy professional. She owns her own business, and and she just felt so stressed and overwhelmed, even just from her business. And so what we talked about is her just stepping out of the building, the brick and mortar
Mm-hmm.
building, stepping out, going to sit in her car even just for
Mm-hmm.
10 minutes. Not answering a phone, not doing any of those things, and just sitting, watching
Mm-hmm.
hearing the birds chirp, just looking out of the window.
Mm-hmm.
And she did it. She started doing that for a couple of days. And the next time I chatted with her, she was like, "Oh my goodness, that has been so helpful." And
Yeah.
you're right. It wasn't anything, magical. She didn't have to go get sensory, music
Yeah.
or go sit on a fancy pillow or anything like that. Just go sit in her car, 10 minutes, turn everything off. Don't
Yeah.
have anybody, in her ear. And it did. So yeah, meditation can be what you make it, but just really taking that time, just for you and kind of blocking out everything else is the important piece to that.
Yeah, I used to do that when I had a job in San Diego, and I worked in a co-working space. So not only was like my office with the people that I worked with always kind of phone calls and meetings and like all this stuff, but then there were offices all over this building, and I remember sometimes my energy would be so jacked, just like and so after I would eat, when I got to lunchtime, I was like, feed me. So I would like feed myself very quickly. And then with whatever time I had left on my break, I would just find like a conference room or the roof, or sometimes I did a walking meditation, which is just literally to like sit and like feel my food in my belly, knowing that it was about to give me some fuel and energy. And I would just sit there and like be calm, and
Yeah.
sometimes that's just enough to get you to a place where you're not so high strung, where you're not worried or stressed. You're just like, I'm just gonna sit for a second, or even take two walks around the block, looking at the trees, looking at the sky, without running into anybody, obviously, but just like being
Yeah.
very intentional about the walk, being not speed walking, just a calming
Mhm.
walk to, bring that energy back down. And I love that. I didn't have a car at the time, which is why I had to choose a spot
Yeah.
to kind of like shut things out. But it's just that process, and like you said, that whole mind body connection is so real, and that they're so symbiotic also,
Mhm.
right? The mind feeds the body and the body feeds the mind, and
Yeah.
we can include energy in that too, right? If you're constantly in a hectic high strung environment, then your brain is constantly on hectic high strung, gotta work fast, and then your body is constantly in this elevated state of like, I don't like panic really. Just like gotta go, right? But if you take the time to like sit your body down or take your body on a nice slow walk, then your body goes, I can calm down. And then your brain goes, oh, I can too. And then your energy goes, okay, we're gonna chill for a second. And it doesn't need to be an all day thing. It doesn't need to be an extended period of time, but having your body in that elevated state of energy, having your mind in that elevated state of energy constantly is what creates burnout. And it's what creates us slipping back into habits that maybe aren't the most healthy.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah.